Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. It was a good week. It was a long week, but it was a good one. Man, I was all over the place this week in a good way, in the best way. First and foremost, so Stevie's health update. He's been experimenting with like abstaining from any pharmaceutical drugs, trying to just, we keep calling it like homeostasis, but just get back to fucking normal, right? And I think he's pretty much there. He went to a physical therapist who found out he had cranial knots. It's very rare, but those were causing migraines, which was also one of the side effects was TMJ, which he kept saying was his main, pain was he couldn't open his mouth. He lost 20 pounds initially because he could barely open his mouth. And anyways, besides the point, we'll go into every beat of the fucking medical history, but this PT he was working with, I can't remember her name. She found the knots and gave him an hour and a half massage, way over the slotted time. She's like, look, I'm just going to try and help you because you had no results. And she was super sweet, took care of him. And then he ended up calling around to a few different places and ended up seeing an acupuncturist. And she was she's from South Korea, but dude, I guess she's a wonder worker. And he said she just knew exactly what to do. She was able to go in there and just based off it was so random, a picture of his tongue and be oh, I get it. Your liver's not good because of all the medical shit you've been taking. Not good, but she just based off this picture could tell all this shit. And then knew where to actually needle him. And we've experimented with acupuncture before, but this he said was the real, they leave the needles in for 15, 20 minutes. Not oh, we're going to pinpoint some spots here while you get a massage. It was the real deal. And he said that it was a fucking huge difference, huge relief. He's in good spirits and it seems like he's on his way to recover. I think he still has an MRI or some shit booked, but hopefully by the time he gets to that, it's just gone, So he's getting his life back, folks. He's getting his life back. And that kind of ties into, the rest of the pod. But yeah, so his update, he's a little bit better. A lot better, actually. Fuck, way better. But, there's still some, not out of the woods yet, 1 second. Anyways, yeah, so this week we took the big voyage to LA, last week I think I kind of told you guys Christine booked a gig for a short film, and yeah, dude, it was a super legit short, and the director wanted to meet up, so we were all right, fuck it, we gotta go to LA, do the meet and greet. And I shot the pod last Monday, I always do. Tuesday we kind of were just all right, I guess we're going down, and then Wednesday morning we left, kind of hit the road around noon. It was a great drive. Honestly, it felt good to be back on the road. I felt really good. It's just been a minute. You get cabin fever when you hang out in your area too long. You know what I mean? So hit the road, did our usual stops. We usually hit slow, maybe the Starbucks there or something. It's a midway point, not slow, Paso. And go from Paso to, Paso to 46. I don't know if you guys some people take 101 all the way down to LA. I don't mind it, but it's a nice drive. It's way nicer than the 5 in my opinion, but it's a little bit longer. You have to go all the way down the Golden Coast. It's never fun doing that. So anyways, we went from 101 to 46 all the way through Lost Hills. And we love that drive too, because we always hit the James Dean gas station, not to be mistaken with the Memorial site, which is way before, but hit that James Dean gas station. Always a good time. It was actually really weird. This time we were there, we pull in, we're oh fuck yeah, the James Dean gas station. It was Stevie, Christine, and I, and we're mobbing in the Beamer. And we get there, and the car just immediately is covered with fucking flies. It looked like something out of a devil movie. I referenced the Scary Movie 2 scene with James Woods when he's in the bathroom and the flies come around. It's a comedic way of doing it, but it was weird. There were so many fucking flies on the car, literally the windshield was covered, and I was I don't even want to get out. So we all opened the doors fast, got out, went into the store, and the store had a little atrium where there's doors that led in, and then another set of doors that actually went in. And I'm maybe this is why they have it, because of this fucking problem. But there's even flies in there. It was honestly, it was fucking disgusting. And went in, bathroom, got some snacks and shit, got back out. And even when we were walking out, there's an old couple, and they're the wife was yelling at the husband, close your mouth. You don't want the flies to get in. And I was this is fucking gross. So we rushed into the car. And I'm not kidding you. When you see birds fly when something like someone shoots a gun in a field, or they just flock up into the sky. It looked like that, but with flies. I was walking back to the car, and from underneath the Beamer came a fucking swarm of flies. I'm this is fucking gross and insane. So anyways, we fucking got in the car really quick. Fucking unbelievably, not one fly got in the car, but they were still on our car until I fucking hit 80 and they blew off. But Anyways, besides the point, that was kind of weird, unusual, unexpected, especially for our James Dean stop, which is usually a pretty benign stop. It's fun. We have a good time. Anyways, roads were pretty clear. We really took it easy on the ride. Like, we weren't in a rush. As we got closer to LA, I know Christine was talking. She's like, oh, fuck. Like, I think I might want to get shoes. She had brought like sandals. And I'm like, yeah, sandals in the city, it's kind of questionable because the city is a little dirty. Anyways, she's like, well, maybe we'll stop. And like, I don't know if you guys know, if you take the 5, which is like, it's kind of just nothing when you're driving down the 5. You see Bakersfield, some oil wells. It's not much out there. You can't really even see Bakersfield. You just see the fucking exits like Button, Willow, etc. All these little small towns that are like way off the 5. We got closer to like the bottom of the Grapevine, and there's like that Tejon Ranch area, right? And usually you just stop. Maybe you grab like Subway or fucking In-N-Out, Starbucks, right? Some big commercial brand that's on every fucking American highway. But, you know, I was telling Christine, I'm like, she's like, well, when we get to the city, like, I'll get shoes. I'm like, hey, like, they might be cutting it close if we get to the city and, like, check into the hotel and this, and that. Like, you might not have time. So I was like, I think they have outlets at this Tejon Ranch area, right? So we ended up pulling into the outlets, and, like, it was a kind of just a fucking, not even hasty decision. It was just kind of an in-the-moment decision. I'm like, yeah, we'll check it out. You guys want to use the bathroom, grab food, coffee, whatever, we'll do it. Honestly, these Tejon outlets were pretty nice, like reminiscent of, I'd say, like the Gilroy outlets, but nicer. And anyways, when we got there, it was good to, sorry about that. I do the podcast in my garage. It's where I got the studio set up, and my mom and my brother's girlfriend just got home. They opened the garage right in the middle of it. So sorry about that. It just kind of interrupted it. But anyways, back to what I was saying. We were headed down the 5, and Christine needed shoes, so we stopped at Tejon Tejon Ranch. The outlets at Tejon. I don't know what the fuck it's called. But anyways, we go there. It's like a outdoor outlet mall. It felt like indoor outdoor. It was interesting, but walked around for a bit. They had a fat H&M. So like we went in there, and it's just funny. Like when you look at like, you know, regionally, I was just up in San Jose. I was just down, you know, kind of even further like towards LA, not there yet, but seeing the difference between what they sell here and what they sell there, it's like, dude, this is like a fucking underserved market in like Monterey County. Like they just, you know, the same product's not there. If you go to like the fucking Macy's at Del Monte, it's the same shit like every fucking year. They just like rarely get new shit. So I know it's interesting to see how like well stocked these places were too, and like the diversity of stores and like brands. It's just, it makes you think. You're like, like, do they just not give a fuck about Monterey County? I don't know. Or they just don't care. Like, they don't care to keep putting money into this area. And like, I get it, because retail is kind of dead. I think that's what I'm getting at, is that, you know, the 5, if you're headed down the fucking Grapevine or like headed up from LA, it kind of makes sense that you may be like actually trying to buy gifts or like shit. Like we stopped because we were like, hey, like maybe she can get these shoes on the way into the city. But then again, like if you were headed up for like the holidays, the 5's like a main vein through California, right? So you could literally stop there and be like, oh, let's just shop for Christmas gifts or like gifts for a birthday or something on the way up. Oh, I forgot to get an outfit because there's a fucking like pool, or insert whatever scenario. It was pretty good. And, you know, for what it's worth, relatively cheap. Everything was on sale. And I think it's maybe like a sign that, hey, like their business might not be as good as like maybe intended. Also, it was interesting. When we were there, we talked to this lady at like Old Navy, and she's like, oh, you know, they're putting in a Hard Rock casino. I'm like, here? It's like, Dave, you've seen this area. It's like the bottom of the fucking Grapevine, right before you're like, if you're going like south, right? And it's just insane. Like to have a Hard Rock casino there, it doesn't make sense. But it made me, like Stevie and I started talking, I'm like, this must be some valuable fucking land if they're about to develop it out here, or like put a casino. Cause like, I get it. Like it's not crazy for a casino to be there, cause you'll get like people coming in from like Bakersfield, and like, we asked the people a bunch of questions there too. Like this lady specifically, when we talked to her, we're like, hey, like, where do you live? Like, cause there's no fucking housing around here. There's like one apartment complex behind this like outlet center, right? And we were like, like that's like only housing for miles. And everybody's like, oh, everything's like 20 or 30 minutes away. This lady's like, I'm from Bakersfield, but everyone commutes here. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to get people for the Hard Rock Casino to work here from like Bakersfield, maybe play here because people like, you know, they like to gamble. But then I was like, I guess like this must be like part of a bigger development, because once the casino goes in, eventually they're going to build like housing, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what that area becomes. It was kind of slept on, and I've been driving that road for years, and it's always just been like, oh shit, like, you know, there's like the fucking strip mall of fast food. There's also a massive like distribution center there for like, maybe it was IKEA or maybe it's just multiple brands, but it was interesting to see. So anyways, stopped there, shopped for way longer than we probably should have, but we all were like having a good time. It was like an hour and a half, maybe an hour. Nah, probably about an hour. And it was like, oh, we're going to stop for 20 minutes and then end up turning into a whole fucking hour. But walked around. It was nice. Really took our time on the way down. And then I think we left there around 3:30, maybe 4. And the meeting was at 8. So like we were confident we'd get into town on time. And like the rest of the ride was smooth. Rode in. It said we were going to take the 405. And I was like, fuck. Like it was right around 5:45. I'm like, this could be a fucking nightmare. Empty. Got into Sherman Oaks. We stayed at this hotel. I think it was a Courtyard Marriott. But honestly, it was pretty nice. Not like the snazziest place, but it was dope for like a like business, hotel. We usually stay at the Beverly Hilton, but this meeting was going to be like right there. And like, we're like, no, we're not going to fucking, I know it's like, it can be like $400 or $500 a night at like base there. And it's like a great spot. You're super central, but it wasn't worth it for this trip. We were just like, no, let's just keep it budget. So we stayed at this place. It was dope. The meeting was at 8. We actually got there like, I think it was like probably 6:30, 6:15-ish. Hung out in the hotel room for a bit. Around like 6:45, 6:50, we headed down to like the local Westfield because although we were at this fucking shopping center, Christine couldn't find shoes. So we ended up doubling back to another mall, the Westfield Shopping Center in Sherman Oaks. And it was super nice. Honestly, it was great. Went there pretty much, I think, until like 7:30, 7:40. Left, and then we got to like, the meeting was at Mel's Drive-In. So got there, hung out for a bit. Christine went in and met with the director, and like we were gonna like go and get pizza or something. Stevie and I like, all right, like we'll drop her off, we'll go and get food, we'll come back. Their meeting will be done like 5 minutes after she's in there, and she texts us like, hey, come on in. So we ended up all getting a chance to meet the director. She was super nice, had a great vision for her film. She gave us a nice little like watch list too from her like lookbook of like what she wanted Christine. Well, it really was for Christine, but we ended up all watching it. But yeah, hung out. Got to know her a little bit. I think Christine already had the part, but it was like, hey, like, let's get to know each other before we shoot. Cause like, I think it's really prudent. Like, you don't want to just go to set and be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like, I'm going to be talking with you intimately all day about the scene. No, like it was smart to meet before. And, the meeting was like 2 hours. It was really good. It was just nice, talking about filmmaking too with somebody else. I fortunately got a chance to talk quite a bit during it. And, it was good. Learned a lot about her, learned a lot about her vision for the film and how Christine came into it. And it was good, So congrats again to Christine. The meeting went well. We ended up taking a late night mission to get pizza after, which ended up kind of being a fiasco. Like, look, when we got to the meeting, the other girl said, okay, I ate before. And like, we were under the impression we were going to eat. It's not a big deal, but it was like our mistake. And we'd just been on the road, and I was like, all right, like, well, the meeting's probably going to be like an hour. So I was like, I can wait an hour. I ended up getting like a San Pellegrino. I didn't think it was going to be a 2-hour meeting. So like, I think we got out of there at like 10:15 and wouldn't change a thing. The meeting was perfect, but we were all hungry. We were like, all right, shit, like, where are we going to go? Like Stevie and Christine got milkshakes. And I was just like, yeah, I just can't do it. So after we were like, all right, there's like a fucking pizza place down the road. We drive there. It's a Joe's Pizza. They're closing. They won't make a full pie. We're like, oh, we'll just order a pizza, right? And we'll take it to go, right? No, they're like, we're just like, it's 10 minutes till we close. I'm like, fuck. Like, I guess I just thought things were open later in LA. Drove to this next pizza place. We're going to go to Prince Street Pizza. We called the guy, and the guy's like, like, we're closing in 20 minutes. He's like, I can maybe throw it in. And then, like, it just wasn't what we wanted. Like, at the time, we're like, we don't want a square pizza. It was just something about, like, the guy's pitch on the phone. We're like, no. So then we were like, fuck it. Let's just drive into like West Hollywood. We'll go to like Joe's on Sunset and get a pizza. So Stevie's like, fuck it, done. I'm driving. We take Laurel Canyon. Stevie's got it called in. He got 2 pies, right? We got one that was like fucking with cheese, one without. It's usually Christine doesn't like cheese. So we're like, perfect. We're going to get our late night, midnight fucking pizza, go back to the hotel, have a great night. Dude, we drive to West Hollywood. I get there, smooth sailing. It took 15 minutes, no traffic. It was unbelievable. It was a Thursday night. I think it was a Thursday or a Wednesday night. It was a Wednesday night, so it wasn't too busy. Get there, no one's there. We're in there waiting, and like we ask the guy, like, hey, where are the pizzas? He's like, who are you? Like, what's your name? Nope, we never got the order. Turns out we ordered on the wrong one, Hollywood Boulevard. So we're all hangry. We're like, fuck it, let's just go. We drive back down fucking to the other side of town, get there, and it's just fucking Hollywood Boulevard. Like, look, I used to live a couple blocks up from it. I loved it at the time. It got a little rough in the last few years. Still not bad. It's way better now. I'll say this. LA was so clean this time I went down, because I went down in like 2022 and it was just fucking like, it was just really sketch. Like, it was not nice. Even Beverly Hills, like, there's people in Erewhon stealing shit. I was like, my God, like, what does this come to? But besides the point, this time I was like surprised at how like cleaned up the city was. It was honestly refreshing to see. And I was like, okay, Hollywood Boulevard shouldn't be that crazy. But no, it was fucking out of control. Even like in front of Joe's, like I just put my fucking like emergencies on and parked right in front of like there's like a fucking semi truck delivering shit. It was just out of control, like usual. So anyways, we Stevie and Christine go in. Christine's like, I'll go in alone and get in. I'm like, dude, I don't think so. I was like, I think you need somebody to be buddy system on this one. So she goes in with Stevie. I'm there for like maybe 5-10 minutes. They said it was sketch outside. They got in there, like it was all good on the inside. Like honestly, nice ass people, nice ass pizza. They hop in and I was like, look, I used to live right up the street here on Franklin Avenue. Let's just go to like the Gelson's parking lot and just eat these pizzas. So that's what we did. You know, pulled up to this parking lot. It was quiet, peaceful. The only thing that was going on was the UCB theater had just cleared out and there's a little crowd of like, you know, hipsters and shit out there. And I was like, all right, like cool. People were kind of parked in the parking lot anyways. And we just hung out. And it was honestly, it felt like a small town night. That was the thing about LA this time. It really didn't feel as like big as it used to, and like in a good way, which I think Stevie and I talked about it too. It's kind of a reflection of our growth. Like, you know, it used to be overwhelming to go down there. And this time I was like, look, like I've been here, done that, used to live here, yada, yada, yada. And you could really feel it. It was nice. And it gave me a different perspective on just like the city as a whole. Also, Sherman Oaks, not my usual like haunt, but not bad. I actually was really like, for how little time it took to get into like West Hollywood or Hollywood at night, I was like, fuck, like, you know, wouldn't be a bad spot to be. I've talked about with some buddies, some other neighborhoods as well, but I don't know. It was surprisingly refreshing. Maybe I'm just at that age, you know, where I'm like, I think I need the little suburb life versus like the fucking apartment, you know, off Hollywood Boulevard, in the madness of everything. But yeah, so that was good. Next day we got up, we went back to Westfield, checked some shit out. We tried to return some stuff that, you know, we bought, and that was all good and dandy. What did we do? Kind of hung out, went around, got coffee, and then we hit the road. It was a short but sweet trip, but honestly it was really good and super important. The short film I think shoots. I think we'll be back in the city on November 9 and 10. I can't remember. I'll get the dates, but we're headed back to LA for that. We're going to go as Christine's entourage, like I've been saying. But no, it was good. And even the director, like, you know, it was really cool that we all got to meet because everybody felt like they became friends after. And that's like the best type of meeting. You don't want to like, you know, go into business or like do a project and not feel like you can communicate with somebody or like be on the same page, you know? And I think like it was super smart that she booked the meeting and then also that we all went. Like, it just made everything easier, you know, and it's going to be a fun shoot and it's going to be really cool. And the story's awesome. I won't ruin it, but I'll keep you updated as that goes along because I think she knows a lot of people, which is really cool. And I think she's going to have a good chance of getting this into quite a bit of film festivals and having this like short film scene in a really good light and also showcased appropriately, which will also, you know, showcase Christine's, you know, acting skills, which are fucking awesome. So I'm excited to see that. What else went on this week? I had my buddy Dominic come over this weekend, Saturday night, came over for some pizza, got a little stony bologna, and yeah, hung out, talked about film, talked about just life and shit. It was good to see him. Like I see him less than I used to. We actually used to be roommates in film school, but besides the point, he's just been grinding. I've been grinding, and it was just good to catch up. Like, honestly, it's always good to see somebody who, you know, like-minded and also, you know, somebody that you've known for a long time. And yeah, we ended up hanging out. It was a big, long hang. Watched fucking Lost Bus again, because I actually was like texting him about it. I'm like, yeah, like you lived up here. Like the only time I'd been to Paradise was with you to go like that camera shop. And I was like, bro, like Stevie and Christine got home and they kind of threw it on. Cause I was like, hey, like they got home. I'm like, all right, I'll start making these pizzas now that everyone's here. And we were playing like Mario Kart and, you know, he was like enjoying that shit. And then Stevie's like, hey, let's throw on a movie while we eat. And Lost Bus, dude. And second time around, honestly, it was really fucking good. Even better than I like thought it was the first time. And I said, I think it has Oscar contendership because of McConaughey's performance. It's just one of those movies. Like I told Stevie, I was like, you know, when they see like Matthew McConaughey in The Lost Bus, it's not going to be the winner, but it's going to be up there. And it's the one where you're like, yeah, it was good. It was like a disaster movie though. Like, and I'm not trying to disparage the film, but there's always going to be that like super serious drama or like, I don't know, there's that hit movie like Parasite or The Lost Bus. They're like worlds away, but you know which one's going to smoke it in the long run. So anyways, it was funny watching that again and just talking. He had some ideas on filmmaking. I think I encouraged him to just keep writing because honestly, I think even if you're not making something or in production, and especially as a writer, writing is so important to just do. You got to just keep sharpening your, you know, your knife, your blade, and getting better and better. And I kind of told him that, Mike, dude, like I've written myself into madness. Like I remember because when Stevie was first falling ill, whatever, not feeling well, I was fucking just grinding out scripts left and right. Like I had like this fever because I was so close to going back into production and shooting my second film, and I still like was like holding my breath, and I was like, I guess I'm just gonna fucking write, and I just like, hey, maybe this idea could be done, this idea. And when I write, like I do write towards budget, where I'm like, I want to write a movie I can actually make, and that doesn't mean like I won't write something higher budget, but I want to have something that like when the opportunity arises to make another film, I can just go for it because I don't want to wait. And like the power of the film is pretty heavy. Like making a movie, like it definitely helps you get out there, but also you don't know what's going to be your hit film or your movie that gets you known, and not even hit like financially, but as like, what are people going to see and be like, oh, that was a movie I remembered watching, and you just don't know. It's all gamble. It's all risk. I just try to make something that, is obviously like relatable, human, and can connect with people, whether that be super grounded in reality or super science fiction-y, like, and when I was talking to Dominic, I actually realized how many ideas, like I was like, God damn, like I have written a lot of shit from a lot of different genres, and it's all relative to the same thing. Stories are stories, storytelling is storytelling, and it doesn't really matter what you're writing, in my opinion, as much as if you understand story. Story is the most important thing, because a lot of stories are very similar, but you apply them to like other genres or scenarios, etc. And that's when you start getting the diversity of, I guess I was saying genre, but like just style and type of movie, At the core of a lot of movies, though, they are like very much the same thing. I'm watching Game of Thrones, and if it took place in 2025 and it was called something else in like a science fiction world, or let's say even 2555, it wouldn't matter because like the themes are timeless. People don't change that much. It's just the environment, technology, the world. But anyways, I'll end that little fucking riff. Yeah, it was good talking with him though. He had some ideas, like I said, for his own screenplays. We might, even team up on one and just try and, work on something. At this point, I write so often, like another like script or project to me, it's like, okay, it's not a big deal to like take it on. It just like, nobody wants to carry the entire weight of a project on their own. And also just depends. Like some of my ideas, I'm like, well, this is something like I need my authorship on it. And it's just good to be clear with intentions and clear with like how you approach shit in general, I think that's something when you're younger can be tough. And the older you get, you're like, okay, no, like if we're doing this one, we're doing this one, this other thing, like maybe that's more whatever. But yeah, I mean, at this point, like collaboration and just making art, you have to play well with others in general. And also like, that's kind of like part of the reason people get so connected in the network of like filmmaking or whatever art you're pursuing. You could be like a chef, and if you're fucking teaming up with another chef on a collab or whatever, it's like the intent's there, and the intent is to make something great that brings out the best of both worlds, which is really cool. And like, everybody gets to put their unique touch on it or make their like unique voice heard. So yeah, the hangout was good, had a good time. He loved the pizza, and I asked him, you're not just saying that, right? And he said no. So very good. We watched a lot of movies this week. A few of them are from the director's like suggested watch list, like her influence list, let's call it that. But before we went to LA, I believe we watched this movie. I was going through Peacock and like, look, dude, I get fatigued like going through the streamers. I'll end up watching a lot of the same shit over because I'm like, yeah, like I don't want to look for a movie that I have like I end up scrolling. It's like doom scrolling through Netflix or like Hulu, Apple TV, Peacock. It's like, fuck, like what do I even put on? There's so many good movies, so many choices. And like I was on Peacock and it was just like a Chucky movie. I was like, God, like I was never that into Chucky. Like I didn't get it. I remember the two movies I'd seen the most were like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. And like, they're like parodies, almost like fucking comedy. So I was like, yeah, it was too campy for me. And Christine and I were hanging, and Stevie was there too. And we're like cooking in the kitchen. And I was like, I just put it on. She's like, oh, Chucky, like which one is it? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And she's like, oh, my uncle liked these movies. I'm like, yeah, like, I'd seen these ones, but that was it. And then she's like, should we just start it from like the top? And I'm like the first one? I'm like, sure. I was like, I don't think it's called Chucky though. I think it's called Child's Play. So we look it up. It's on fucking AMC Plus or whatever. 1988 Child's Play. Put it on. Directed by Tom Holland. Written by Don Mancini. Dude, I was expecting like, my bar was so low for Child's Play. I was like, yeah, like I'd seen like some clips from it, like the scary scenes, whatever you want to call it. Very like low bar for me. I was like, okay, maybe you'll see. Maybe it's just like a popular slasher. It was super good. Like, I don't know if you've seen the OG Child's Play, but I was blown away. Like, not only was the script good, it starts off a little like wonky because there's like this scene where this guy like becomes Chucky. Like he gets shot by this cop and he like puts his like body into this doll using this like fucking shaman voodoo chant. And it works. He becomes this Chucky doll. And anyways, the Chucky doll gets bought by this single mom that ends up in this kid Andy's possession. And like, the script was unbelievable. It makes you believe that this could have happened. Like, the plausibility, 10 out of 10. And on top of that, the actual character of Chucky, terrifying. It's like a real like criminal serial killer guy who has been into this body, and he's supposed to say phrases, right, as a toy, but he like communicates with this kid while the mom's not around. And it's like the kid starts being seen as crazy because he's like literally talking to his doll as if it's like a real animate object, and bad things start happening. And they start thinking, is the kid behind these bad things? Very strange, very sick, very fucked up. If you haven't seen it, yeah, like go watch it. It was really good. Honestly, I was refreshingly good. To be completely honest, I've never seen the first Child's Play. So like for me, it was like first time. I was like, even in 1988, this hit hard in 2025. It was scary as fuck. Sure, there's some dated VFX, but honestly, at the time, they must have been mind blowing. We watched it and we were all like, wow, that was a real movie. And we all said how like, I kept saying this. I kept saying like, imagine buying a ticket to go see this movie in 1988, and this was the newest technology, the newest VFX. Sitting down and not really knowing what the movie was about and seeing that, you would have been mind fucked. I get why they've made like 20 of these fucking movies. Like I get the Chucky hype now. But prior to that, my experience of Chucky was very like, oh, like he's kind of like this popcorn movie guy. Like versus this first film was like a real movie, like 10 out of 10, no complaints. Scary as fuck. Chucky also like, he's a terrifying killer because not only because he's like the doll, that's obviously scary, but because he is a bad guy. And the way he has to be killed and stuff is like, it's like vampire-esque. He has to be like stabbed through the heart. And the way he keeps like, he's tenacious. He doesn't go away. He keeps coming back. He's persistent about killing this woman. He finds out that if he can kill the boy Andy, that he can actually take over his human body, because like the guy who taught him the voodoo, he didn't want to help him, but Chucky's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And he says like, look, the only way you can not become like the doll forever is if you put your fucking self into this kid. Take his body. You'll be 6-year-old boy again, but you'll grow up to be, you know, a human, not a fucking doll that's like disfigured, half human, whatever, half man, half toy. And yeah, he just would refuse to give up. And it was very scary, very good climax. I wouldn't say it was like long and drawn out, but like, you know, they always say in like, I think Jamie Kennedy says it in the first Scream, the killer always comes back for one more scare. That's kind of like what happened here. Like he came back for one more, and like this movie probably wrote a lot of the stereotypes, and a lot of the stereotypes get written through the, you know, predecessors, right? But oh man, it was good. I'd watch it again. We're gonna watch Child's Play 2 this week. We literally left. We were out of town, so we were literally about to put it on. We were like, nah, like we got to get up early tomorrow for this fucking LA trip. Anyways, get back from LA. Diligently, Christine's like, I really want to watch the movies that she suggested, and I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. I think it's a smart thing to do. So we popped on the first suggestion, which is probably the closest to her like script as well, is Rosemary's Baby, 1968, directed by Roman Polanski. The lead actor is John Cassavetes. The lead female actress is Mia Farrow. She's more the protagonist, to be honest. I talk about Cassavetes a lot. I love his work. He's kind of like one of the godfathers of independent cinema. Real improv artist, somebody who really played on psychodrama and trying to make films that really explored the human psyche and also played really close to realism. Like, he'd get his own emotions in real life involved in his films, and he'd do that to his actors too. He'd be like, hey, like he'd even like get non-actors and bring them in and be like, hey, let's like make this real. He's a very interesting guy. He explored that type of psychological cinema very heavily, and it's also really grounded in reality, and it's something that I aspire to do. I really like Cassavetes' work. Now, that being said, Mia Farrow, she's notoriously known for like, you know, being Woody Allen's partner for a long time, and just being a great actress in general. And this movie, timeless. Like, it just speaks for its fucking self. From what I understand, it's an adaptation. I think Polanski wrote and directed the script, but I gotta verify that. But I believe it's adapted from a book. Man, some of these movies, you hear the name, you're like, what was the hype? Why was it so good? It's just timeless. The movie is timeless. If you haven't seen it, a woman moves into an apartment that has a long storied history of suicide and like weird stuff going on, like child disappearances, etc. And she's excited. Her husband's an actor. She's a soon to be mom, you know, and they just got married or whatever, and they move in, they're having a good time, and like her friend kind of tells her the history of the building. He's like, you know, just be careful there. Anyways, they meet a couple that lives near them, like above them or whatever, in the same building, and the husband ends up hanging out with them a lot and becomes kind of enamored by them. And because the guy, like that older gentleman, knows a lot of people that were actors and in the business, and so he's like, oh, maybe if I buddy up with this guy, I'll get in. And anyways, Rosemary takes a turn for the worse. She has like a night where it's like ambiguous what happens, but it's seemingly she gets like raped or like she's not sure what happens, right? And when she wakes up the next day, her husband's like, "Oh, hey, that was a weird night, right? We got a little drunk." And she's like, "I don't know, I had a weird dream." Anyways, cut to a few weeks later, she's pregnant, and that kind of the rest is like kind of history. Like, Rosemary's pregnant, she's got a baby on the way, and she starts seeing her world fall apart, and there's like a sense of paranoia and that she's not being heard, and that she keeps telling people like, "I don't feel well," and she starts to look like physically ill. She has a party with her own friends, and they start seeing like how bad she looks. Also, in the meantime, the older folks that live in the building have like seeped so deep into her life. Her husband's best friends with them. They're making Rosemary her like prenatal drink, I guess I'd call it. She also has gone to a doctor under their suggestion. This Dr. Saperstein, who's like everyone knows him. Even her friend Hutch is like, "Yeah, I delivered a few of my daughter's kids." He's like the best pregnancy doctor you can get. I can't remember the professional term. But anyways, I think it's obstetrician. Anyways, her life becomes controlled. She gets taken over by these folks. And as the film progresses, you see like how it plays out, where she's actually like subjected to being like the mother of the Antichrist against her knowing, right? And it turns out everyone's in on it, and her whole family is fucking, not her whole family, but her husband and all these people are like part of this like satanic cult. They all want to hail Satan. The husband's career also keeps blossoming as the movie goes on. It's clear that he has sold his soul to the devil. I think it's implied. And it's like a lot of funky shit goes on, but it's very, very powerful, very timeless. It's funny, I say this a lot, but I feel like, Christianity and like Catholic themes used to be so prevalent in like cinema in general, and like it's kind of like waned. I think it's been a little perverted just in general through like so many demonic possession movies and shit. But besides from the point, this shit still, because like, I did grow up Catholic, and like I was talking to Dominic about it. It's like, we used to go to like, went to Catholic school, and like one of our teachers would play us like these like Satan propaganda videos, not in like the sense that they promoted it, but like they were like fear videos to make you scared. And like they did scare us. Like I remember parents were calling in like, "Why is this lady showing us crazy shit?" I mean, showing a group of fucking 7th graders a Ted Bundy documentary and be like, "This could be you if you watch porn." It's like, dude, you're scaring us, lady. Anyways, besides the point, we love the movie. Very scary, very timeless. God damn, it really like sets the tone for like the rest of Polanski's career, because I think his follow-up to this may have been Chinatown. Chinatown's one of our favorite movies. Stevie and I talk about it all the time. Flawless. Jack Nicholson is fucking just unbelievable. Polanski's unbelievable. I think Robert Towne wrote it. He's fucking amazing too. And I don't know, when it's good, it's good. It doesn't, it speaks for itself. And like Polanski, he has done it over and over. I also understand that Roman Polanski is a controversial person. I don't endorse his personal life, but I try to separate the art from the artist, and for what it's worth, I think he does make great films. I also want to mention that The Ninth Gate and Rosemary's Baby, another Polanski film, would be a great pairing. Similar vibes. The Ninth Gate is a movie I'd seen recently. It wasn't something that used to be like a top of mind film for me, but it's grown to be a favorite. I watch it often, like maybe every like couple months. I'll just throw it on if it's on streaming, and it's Johnny Depp as the lead. Can't remember the other guy, Frank Langella or Langlia, whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it. But yeah, if you haven't seen The Ninth Gate, highly suggest watching that. And if you haven't seen Rosemary's Baby, I know I spoiled a little bit of it, but it'll hold up. It doesn't matter. You're not going to remember everything I said. The beats are there, and go watch it. It was fucking awesome and timeless, and it's funny how shit hasn't really changed, because even in 1968, people are people. Life wasn't that much different back then, and the movie explores some really good themes. Go watch it. One more notable mention from Polanski is The Ghost Rider, starring like Ewan McGregor and Pierce Bronson. Wow, like kind of a slept-on modern contemporary classic. I don't remember what year it came out, but yeah, he's had some movies in the last few years I haven't seen, but that one, for what it's worth, like Ninth Gate, Chinatown, Ghost Rider, Rosemary's Baby, they're all very solid. I'm sure he's got other great films in there I'm missing, but yeah, go check them out. The other film that was suggested on the list from the director was La Bonheur, or Bonheur, I don't know, 1965. It translates to happiness in English. Directed by Agnès Varda, a hauntingly beautiful exploration of love, selfishness, and the illusion of happiness. Well, that's a nice way to put it. This movie was very typical French New Wave. It started out, this guy is with his family. He's a young man with his young wife and his young kids, and they go out to the countryside, and they're picking flowers. Perfect life, right? Having fun. He drives back into town. I think he works for his uncle or his dad. Drives a little, like work truck. He's a carpenter. his wife makes like dresses and stuff. She's like a custom tailor for dresses. And anyways, perfect little French life, right? Well, a couple weeks into this, or not weeks, excuse me, a couple minutes into the movie, he meets this lady at the post office, looks almost identical to his wife, but he's enamored by her and he keeps going back, and eventually he ends up hooking up with her. He comes to her apartment and is like, hey, like, you know, let's bang. And he tells her everything. He's like, I'm married, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's okay. Like, you know, maybe one day, but for now, like, I'm cool with you being married and like living the second life. He's like, great, perfect. And he doesn't tell his wife, and, you know, his relationship with her is escalating. His life is kind of just going. And yeah, it's just strange. Like the movie just didn't see, it has a twist, but you didn't see it coming. It was just like, okay, like he's living his life. He's kind of having this affair, double life. And at some point he goes out with his wife to the countryside again, same thing. And they're sitting there and he's just like, I can't lie anymore. He's like, I want to tell you, because he's been acting a little weird. And she's like, tell me. And he's like, no, he's like, I just don't want to lie because I don't want to hurt you. But he's like, yeah, he's like, so I've been like, I'm in love with somebody else. I'm still in love with you. And she's just like, oh, like she's kind of taken aback, but not that crazy. And he's like, but I love her. He starts asking her, like, has it affected our relationship? She goes, I guess not. And he goes, well, then have I done anything different? She goes, no. And he's like, okay, well then I guess like we should just like let it keep happening if you're okay with it. And she's like, yeah, sure. Then they have sex one more time and he falls asleep, right? And when he wakes up, he hears his kid crying like, mama, mama. Like their French kids are hilarious in the movie, by the way. They must have been like, you just got to watch it. Honestly, this movie, I don't know if I suggest watching it, but if you can stomach it, it's good. Well, anyways, the kids are going, mama, mama. And he wakes up, he's rubbing his eyes like, where is she? And like Christine's like, what do you think happened? You think she left? I'm like, I don't think she fucking left. Like I kind of saw it coming. He grabs the kids, he's carrying them. He's like asking people in French, like, have you seen a woman in a dress? Blah, 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 blah. And he keeps going. And like, you can just tell the panic is rising. Panic is rising. He starts realizing like, fuck, something's wrong. And eventually he goes and he sees like a group of people pulling somebody out of the water, and it's his wife. Terrible, right? And then it kind of, she did some interesting edits. I'd even say they're like Christopher Nolan-esque, where like, he like goes up to the wife's body. She's obviously died and presumed a suicide, right? She killed herself after finding out her husband's having an affair. And he's holding her body and he's saying nothing, but it keeps like flashing back, like these really quick edits to her like trying to grab a tree. She's drowning in the water. And it looked like there was a bridge. It looked like maybe she jumped off a bridge into the water. It's a low bridge, but she obviously couldn't swim. I think that was implied because she's trying to grab like a branch. And it's dark, but it's also like, I don't know. His wife dies. He also was very emotionless when he did tell his wife about like the affair. He was like just trying to justify it. And she was pretty emotionless too. She was like holding it in, obviously, because she goes and kills herself next. But anyways, she dies, funeral. He goes to the girl at the post office and says like, hey, like, I'm going to be gone for like a month. My family wants a little reset. My uncle and my brother or cousin or whatever, we're all going to go away and then we're going to come back. When he comes back, he starts seeing the girl again, and eventually he assimilates her into his life. And then eventually she moves in. She starts taking care of the kids. And then the last shot's haunting. It's him with the first shot of the movie again, but driving out to the countryside in his little truck with this lady and his family. And they just kind of walk off like it's a happy ending. And it's like, it's weird. What is the point, right? Because I saw the genre is romantic horror. Part of me thinks that like the fact that he didn't even care at all about her death, like he was really blasé about it, shows how surface level his happiness was. He didn't really give a fuck about her. It was all about him. Do I feel good? Could I have my kids and this life still without her? Could I just let her, go like that? Like he was cool with just keeping her on like the side, not even the side. It was his main wife, obviously, right? But this new affair is like where he's really putting his love and like intention. It was so strange. And I don't know, it was a lady director, so I don't know what Agnès Varda was thinking, but it was just an interesting like take on like happiness or romance or love. And it was like, what is happiness? Is it this shallow ass like, well, I got the chick I like banging more or whatever? You know what I mean? Like he had this like, and the other wife was very diligent. She cooked, she cleaned, and I'm not saying those are like gender stereotype roles. I'm saying like, for him, it was like, dude, like she's pretty good to you. And she's also the mother of your children. And yet it wasn't enough. But even after she died, he seemed somewhat unaffected. He was sad, but he was never like, you didn't really see him crying other than like when he like, even when he grabbed her, I don't even remember if he cried when she was like actually dead. He looked upset, right? But weeks, if not months later, he's assimilated this new, like literally like a look-alike wife into his life. I don't know. Questionable. La Bonheur, 1965. Would I watch it again? I think I would. And it's interesting. When we were with the director, she mentioned another movie called Happiness by Todd Solondz. And I don't know if you've seen it. That's another movie I don't know if I can just suggest to watch unless you like, it's a heavy, dark film. And I've watched it only once, but it was like one of those movies you hear about on the internet and people are like, oh, dude, it's so fucked up. And I'm like, how fucked up could it be? It's really fucked up. But that being said, maybe she has like a sense of like the dark humor or dark storytelling. She said she liked satire and British humor quite a bit as well. So I get where her influences are coming from this. It's just a coincidence they have the same title. And maybe that's her, philosophy is she's questioning what is, how do I say, what is happiness herself? I think it's a question a lot of people ask themselves. It's an existential, philosophical question about life is what makes you happy, right? Is happiness a state of mind? Is it a thing? Is it a person? Is it a place? God only fucking knows. I think we're trying to get a little bit of all of it and put it together and have our own little world. And anyways, the movie was good. Liked it. Even reflecting on it and talking about it now, I get why it was like the twist ending was like what made it a big known movie at the time and a hit. It's also scored kind of ironically because like the scenes don't match up with the intention or the emotion. And I know it said it was a horror. I think it's horrific that the guy acts the way he does. I think that's really what makes it not right. His reaction is very like middle of the road for something so terrible to be going on with his own wife, passing and like his children growing up without that. And it's also weird to see the lady start taking care of the kids. It's just a very strange movie. I think I liked it more than I thought. And I always say that. I watch a movie and I'm like, You know what's funny is we were going to turn it off and watch the other suggested movie, not because we didn't like it, because we're like, it's kind of late. Do we really want to watch a French movie, no American dub, all night, which I'm not opposed to. And the subtitles are good. And I'm glad we did. And we stuck with it. And it's a movie I won't forget. I'll say that. Anyways, LA trip was good. Stevie's health is on the mend. The movies we watched this week were all quality. We're going to watch some other stuff this week, probably Child's Play 2. There's another movie on that list. I think it's Three Sisters, maybe Three Women by Robert Altman. It'll be exciting to watch that. I love Robert Altman. This is not an Altman film, though. I've seen, more familiar with The Player and some of his other work. But yeah, guys, I think that's about all I got. My name's Devin Thomas, and this has been another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week.